What if I told you that every genius throughout history, from Einstein to Elon Musk, uses the exact same 5-step process to solve problems? And what if I told you that most people skip 4 of these steps, which is why they stay stuck? By the end of this video, you'll have the exact framework that separates problem-solving amateurs from true geniuses. Let's dive in. Here's what most people do when they face a problem. They immediately jump to solutions. It's like trying to treat a symptom without diagnosing the disease. This is why 87% of people report feeling stuck when facing complex challenges. But genius-level problem solvers, they activate different parts of their brain. They follow a specific sequence that most people never learn. Today, I'm going to break down this exact 5-step method that you can start using immediately. Step 1, define the real problem. This is where 90% of people fail. They solve the wrong problem perfectly. For example, someone says, "I don't have enough time." Most people would immediately suggest time management apps or schedules. But a genius asks, what's the real problem here? Let me show you what I mean. When you dig deeper, no time becomes too many commitments, which becomes can't say no, which becomes fear of disappointing others. The real problem isn't time, it's decision-making and boundaries. Here's the genius question. Instead of asking, how do I solve this? Ask, what problem am I actually trying to solve? There's a simple test for this. Can you state your problem in one clear sentence without using the word need? If you can't, you haven't found the real problem yet. Let me give you another example. Surface problem. I need more money. Real problem. My skills aren't valued enough in the current market. See the difference? One leads to quick fixes like side hustles. The other leads to skill development and career strategy. Step 2. Break it into components. Geniuses never solve big problems. They solve small ones. When SpaceX wanted to make rockets 10x cheaper, they didn't try to solve expensive rockets. They broke it down into components. Expensive materials, single-use parts, complex manufacturing, and high labor costs. Each component became a separate, manageable problem. This is why they succeeded where others failed for decades. Here's the component test. If you can't solve your problem in 30 minutes, it's not small enough yet. Keep breaking it down. Your action step here is simple. Take your real problem from step 1 and ask, what are the 3 to 5 components that make up this problem? Write them down. Each component should be something you could potentially solve in one focused session. Step 3. Generate multiple solutions without judgment. Here's where most people's brains shut down. Find one solution and stop. Geniuses generate at least 10 solutions, even bad ones. Edison didn't succeed because he was smarter. He succeeded because he generated more solutions. He had 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb. The genius rule is this. For every problem component, generate at least 3 solutions. Don't judge them yet, just generate. Why does this work? Your first solution is usually the most obvious one everyone else thinks of. Your 10th solution? That's where genius lives. Here's a technique that works incredibly well. Set a timer for 10 minutes and write down every possible solution you can think of, no matter how crazy. The key word is every. Don't filter anything out. You'll be amazed at what your brain comes up with when you remove the judgment filter. Some of the best breakthroughs in history came from ideas that seemed ridiculous at first. Step 4. Test solutions mentally using pre-mortem analysis. Now comes the genius part. Instead of just picking the solution that feels right, you're going to test each one mentally before you commit. This is called pre-mortem analysis. You imagine each solution has failed and work backwards to figure out why. Let's say you're trying to solve a cash flow problem in your business. One solution might be to take out a loan. In your pre-mortem, you ask, if this loan destroyed my business, what would have gone wrong? Maybe you realize the payments would be too high if sales dropped. Maybe you discover you're solving a symptom instead of fixing the underlying sales problem. For each solution, ask these 3 questions. What could go wrong? What assumptions am I making? What would I need to be true for this to work? This mental testing saves you from expensive real-world failures. It's what separates geniusly vile problem solvers from everyone else. Step 5. Implement with feedback loops. Here's where most people think they're done, but geniuses are just getting started. Implementation isn't just about executing your solution. It's about creating systems to know if it's working. Every genius builds feedback loops into their solutions. They don't just implement and hope. They implement and measure. Let's say you're solving a productivity problem. Your solution is to batch similar tasks together. A genius doesn't just start batching. They track their output before and after. They measure energy levels. They note what works and what doesn't. The feedback loop has 3 parts. Measure the baseline, implement the solution, and track the results. But here's the crucial part. You set specific checkpoints. After 1 week, you evaluate. After 1 month, you evaluate again. If it's not working, you don't abandon the whole approach. You go back to your list of solutions from step 3 and try the next one. This is why geniuses seem to solve problems effortlessly. They're not actually solving them once. They're iterating until they find what works. The common mistakes that kill problem solving. Before we wrap up, let me share the 3 biggest mistakes I see people make with this method. Mistake 1, rushing through step 1. They think they know what the problem is without really digging deep. Spend 80% of your time on steps 1 and 2. If you get these right, the rest becomes easy. Mistake 2, falling in love with their first solution. Remember, your first idea is rarely your best idea? Force yourself to generate at least 10 options before you move to testing. Mistake 3, not building feedback loops. They implement something and assume it's working without measuring. This is how you end up solving the wrong problem or using the wrong solution for months.